is it. All right. So today we have James Bolus, the CEO and founder of Venton. I actually just noticed that you have AI evangelist as your title on LinkedIn, which I think is super cool. You should all do that, by the way. I think it'd be a great way to get people asked about AI. And right now, even with the sessions that we've done, you're already way ahead of the curve is what I've seen. So we're doing great. So what I'm going to do is just give a short presentation just about the customer value journey, just to get started. Then we're going to roll directly over to James. I like to just do my little brief presentation of the customer value journey because it's so pivotal to what we do here at Digital Marketer. And what you'll find with AI is that you'll be able to create these things in like 30 minutes, like a full customer value journey. So just if you don't know what the customer value journey is, it's kind of the base framework of how we teach an overarching digital marketing strategy. So a lot of times when people talk about digital marketing, they get too focused on the methodologies, on the tools, and then they kind of forget why we're doing all this stuff. So anything that you do in digital marketing will actually apply to the customer value journey. So that includes your social media posting, your content marketing, your paid media strategy, everything goes into the customer value journey. So that's the strategy. The tools, the methods, those apply to the strategy, but aren't the strategy. Just make that clear. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the 8-stage process in only a couple minutes. There is much more detailed information on our website. We'll go ahead and include links to a couple articles and the course that we have that actually I pulled this information from that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And then we'll get started. And I am going to talk fast. Please review the video if you need better definitions of everything I'm talking about. And we'll go from there. So just to get started, the customer value journey is actually a core IP of Digital Marketer. We own the customer value journey. So anytime you're using it, we could sue you. No, I'm kidding. If you're a certified partner, you can actually white label this as part of your white labeling service that we provide, but it is ours. And the reason for it is because it's helped us make $100 million just a digital marketer. But it's actually helped other businesses, over 120,000 of them, make billions of dollars using this exact framework. Now, when you hear digital marketing, mainly people talk about funnels. And that's basically what this is it is a funnel, 8-stage funnel to be certain. So the whole point of this process is to take somebody from, not knowing anything about your brand to becoming aware of your brand, engaging with your brand, getting involved with your brand, converting, which I'll explain is different than what you think it is, then getting them excited about their conversion, and then ascending through your products in order to make more money for you, then advocating your brand, and then finally actively promoting your brand. So each one of these stages has specific steps. And again, we're going to apply different methodologies and tools to each one of these. But I'm just going to give a quick walk down of how it works, show an example, and then we'll move into James actually talking about brand voice and creating a CVJ using the AI tools, which we're all very fond of now. All right. So to get started, so awareness is exactly what it sounds like. It's getting somebody from not knowing anything about your brand to knowing your brand exists. Now, a lot of people skip this step. They just think you go straight to making a conversion, just send them an ad and they'll get sold. No. And this is going to be increasingly important as things go on with, everybody's ability to market, because everybody's going to get a lot better. Getting awareness of the brand. I've seen that brand before. That's the only thing. They notice you. Next, and awareness, the typical stage, and I'll show it in a little bit, is, social media posts. You're trying to access a new market, but you have to access them in a way that gets them interested, not sold. That's the big difference. Now, engagement, the second stage, is where you actually interact with them. You do a post, they like the post, they comment on the post, they share the post. That's all engagement. And again, that's just one form of engagement. James will actually talk about more. And the sheet that we're going to give you today is an interactive sheet that will allow you to just do a drop down and select whatever you want in terms of each one of these stages. So engaging with the brand, it's getting that conversation going. Next step is subscription. Now, subscription is a big step, especially in digital marketing, because giving somebody your email address, which is really what subscription is really important. I mean, if you think of yourself, like how often do you feel comfortable putting an email address into a form for a company you've never heard of? Not very often. That's why you have to do the awareness and the engagement first, because people aren't just going to throw their email around. It's a really important thing. Typical subscription you'll see on our website is a PDF download. That's your standard. Could actually be, any kind of application tool, like say you give a survey, and in order to get the answers, they have to give you their email address. So that's subscription. You're trying to get the email address so you could follow them up in order to convert them. Now, conversion for us is not, hey, you're going to make a bunch of money, because that's not how things work. You're basically taking them from giving you no money to giving you some money. So this is a low cost, just to get skin in the game. It's not, a $500 thing, unless your actual product is $1 million, then $500, that kind of makes sense. Most of the time, this is a $1 thing, a $10 thing, a $20 thing, something cheap where people don't have to think too much about it to make that decision. And then it converts them into somebody who will now give you more money, which is what we're aiming for. But you got to get them in the system, and you got to get them to commit, and making that dollar commitment, no matter how much it is an extremely important part of the process. Now, a lot of funnels just stop here. They just stop at conversion. Yay, you got the sale. Moving on, let's go get another sale. For us, you're only halfway through the process. Next, you have excitement. So you want to make them excited about that initial purchase. Then again, I'll show you examples in a second. But it's just trying to say, hey, you bought this thing, and did you know this? Most of the time, it's just involves getting them to acknowledge how awesome the service or the product is, or how to use it. This is where your content marketing comes into play. Like, hey, did you know you could do this with that thing you just bought? And they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so neat. So glad you told me. You're obviously an expert. I trust you more. And now I could ascend. So ascension, this is where you make money. So they bought the little thing, you got them excited about doing that, and now you can sell them your profit makers. So, and usually this is maybe a 3-step ladder. That's why we call ascension. That gets them to buy bigger and better services, or just more services. So might have, hey, you bought this one thing. What if you got a monthly subscription to that one thing? Or what if you added on to that with this, and we packaged it up into something nice? So that's ascension. That's where you make money. Next is advocacy. Now we differentiate advocacy and promotion, because advocacy is passive. So this is passive promoting, if you want to look at it like that. This is where you go out to them and you say, hey, you bought a bunch of our stuff. Thank you so much. Why don't you, do you like it? And then they give you a review, a testimonial, and that's passive advocacy. They'll say, oh yeah, sure. Here's a testimonial. Now, promotion is where it gets serious, and you say, hey, if you send us 3 more customers, we'll give you a free whatever, or an affiliate program, essentially, where they're going to make money off of it. And now they're actively going out, they're actively sharing your brand, talking about your product, getting people to buy. So essentially what the process did was take somebody from not even knowing you exist to becoming a marketing channel for you, which is gold. Now this person loves you. They actually make money for you. So that's the customer value journey. And you'll notice that the arrows go a bunch of ways. It's like chutes and ladders, because you don't necessarily have to go from, awareness to engagement to subscription to conversion and so on and so forth. You could go back to another path, because you might convert them once and they didn't get excited, and now you need to re-engage and get them back into the process. So it's not a one-way path. It could go all over the place. And a very important note for this is it's not just about your whole brand. So you'll actually have one customer value journey for each product, and possibly each product line. And then they'll go through this process. Because if you look at digital marketer, we have certifications. We have, the accelerator bootcamp that you're in right now. We have the certified partner program. We have a mastermind. If I try to sell people on any one of these things without making a custom path, it just won't work, because the products are too different. Price points are too different. Avatars are too different. Not going to work. So think in terms of this, in terms of a single product or a product line. So quick example, I'll try to run through this because I'm already talking way more than I wanted to. Hazel and Hems Boutique. This is one of our common examples. You'll see this in our new social media certification. Basically a small local boutique that focuses on mid-20s to early 40s women who have eclectic taste in fashion, want to stay up to date with the trends, and they want to, they're concerned about sustainability and supporting their local businesses. Their core product is locally sourced, polished stone bracelet that's affordable and only sold for limited time periods. So this is just a little avatar, little example. Here's the customer value journey. To start, we want to get some awareness. We're going to use Pinterest. We're going to use Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, because it's a very visual product. And we know that if we post some lifestyle stuff, we'll get in front of the right audience that we want. And usually, and you could boost these things. You could use paid advertising. That's another awareness technique through these platforms. Makes a lot of sense for Hazel and Habs. Next, we're going to increase engagement. So we're not just going to post and, oh, I hope that does something. Anytime somebody comments, we're going to engage them. We're going to say, hey, thank you so much for that comment. What do you think of this? We're going to try to get them engaged in not just commenting, but also encouraging them to share, encouraging them to like. So that's our engagement spot. Next, subscription. Next, we're going to say on these posts and wherever they're on, we're going to say, did you know we have promotional discounts? You get 50% off of your first purchase. If you subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. Super common e-commerce technique. Next, conversion. Remember that, the stone bracelet that was made from locally sourced materials. That's our $10 conversion item. We just want somebody to commit to just a $10 piece. Like, hey, you're here, you like us, you saw our lifestyle pics, you could join us, just buy this $10 bracelet. Maybe it's a loss, we don't care. The important part is that we made them make that conversion. Next, we get them excited. We say, hey, you bought that bracelet. We have we have a rewards program. You get 500 points, you get another bracelet. Here's 100 just to get you started. Tons of people have these. Here's a bunch of pictures of people wearing the bracelet you just bought. Everybody uses it. Getting them excited about becoming part of the Hazel and Hem's community. Next, we're going to say, did you know you could stack these bracelets? And check this out. This girl has 10 bracelets on. This is actually from a company my wife used to work for called Goriana. And they had these little bracelets, and they were not cheap. They were like $100, but you just see these girls that had like 6 of them. Like, holy crap. Anyways, stack the bracelet. That's one ascension path. Next, we'll say, hey, based on the bracelet that you chose, did you know that we have a dress with it? And we have, these earrings to go with it. And we have all these different items. So we try to ascend them through other more expensive products. Finally, since you bought so much from us, we exclusively offer this, a designer will look at what you bought and they'll put together outfits for you. And then we'll actually create a custom outfit, and it's discounted because you're such a good, customer. And that's our final ascension path. Next, pretty easy. Review our products, you'll get more points. And finally, promote. We have an official affiliate ambassador program for you to work for. And that's pretty much it. So this is as simple as it gets for the customer value journey. Bunch of different ways to do it. I just want to show you guys, this is kind of how it works. And if you thought about all this stuff, it could take up some time. And so what James is going to show us now is, one, how to create that brand voice and how to speed up the path using AI. So I'll let James take it away from here. I'm going to stop my screen share and kick it over to you, James.
All right. Thanks for that, Mark, because that was a really great way to go through the CVJ, and kind of saves me some time later on from having to go through that. Hey, everybody. I'm surprised everybody's here during spring break and stuff. So why don't you put in the chat where you're actually coming in from? If you're out of a spring break, I'd love to find out, because obviously I'd rather be in Cancun right now, but I'm here with y'all. So we're going to talk about AI. Thomas is excited, especially after last week. I bet you're pretty excited. Jeff Kraft, I am loving the beard, man. I gotta grow it out, but it's just never going to happen. So yeah, I love Cancun, love Cozumel. All right, let me share my screen. Maybe. There we go. Everybody's seeing the thing there. Before I get started, let's talk about a little bit of AI news. Apparently GPT-4 is coming out this week in some capacity, and I'm super excited for that because it's going to introduce imaging, sound, and video. So I'm excited to see how that's going to work. I don't know if you guys subscribe to Ben's Bites, but there was a few little quick things that popped up today that I really like. This one's called Kindle GPT. This one's going to encourage me to go back and read a lot of my old Kindle books and mark it up with some highlights, because you can export highlights from your books and you can import them into here, and you can have a conversation with ChatGPT about the book and the highlights that you gave. So this is really cool. Give me a summary of these notes, and it'll pop out right there and start giving you a nice little summary. So I'm pretty excited about that. There was a tool I was going to show you later on in this presentation, but another tool has taken its place, chatyoutube.com. What I love about this is you can take pretty much any YouTube video that's out there, pop it in here, hit submit, and it will analyze the transcripts from that video. And you can just simply come in here and say, give me a summary of this video and some key takeaways, and it will do that thing for you. What I love about this is that there are some videos that I really want to watch, but they are like an hour long, right? And so I just want to get the cliff notes of that. So here's an example of a speech that was given. It was an hour-long speech, and now I can go in there and say, give me a summary and key takeaways, and it'll do that. And then earlier when I tested this out, it gave me all these key takeaways, and then I could have a conversation with the chatbot about this content on here, even if the content had nothing to do with what was in there, or if it was an enhancement beyond the content that was presented in that. So that's really cool. Another thing I saw was an open chat kit. I'm all about open sourced. And so I think while we are playing right now with OpenAI, which is going to be a paid system, I'm really interested in seeing how the open source thing is going to come. This was a really cool one, but one thing I really liked about it is down here at the bottom, it actually talked about some of the ways that it's weak. And so that was kind of neat to see that. And this is what I'm really looking forward to in AI. This is like the next step. And I think we're going to start seeing this a lot more, because I realized that with OpenAI, even if you're in that same chat thread, you have a limitation on the number of words it reads. It's 4,000 words. I just found that out. It's actually on their website. What I've been wanting is that when we create these assets that I'm about to show you, I want to be able to go in and upload files. And so I create these assets that I'm getting ready to show you. I can upload them into this system. This one's Trudeau.ai. This is an example. This is brand new. This is what you're going to start seeing a lot of apps start doing. And this is what I've been waiting for. Basically, what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to say, who is learning unlimited? And it's going to reference those files and then spit out an answer. Maybe. There we go. It did it. I can say, who is their ideal prospect? So the way I'm going to show you today is the way that these kind of systems work, right? You want to be able to create some content or create some kind of an output, and then be able to reference that output in order for it to spit out new stuff. And so what I'm going to show you today is how we continue to go through the process of creating assets that support our hypothesis. One thing I do like about this one is you can actually publish the chat, and you can have a public space where you can put in your entire knowledge base, and then somebody can go in and chat with it about the knowledge base. Pretty cool idea. All right, so today we're going to talk about building a strong brand voice. I hope those were helpful. I'm not watching the chat because otherwise I'll get pulled into the chat. But if those were kind of cool and you like those, just give me a thumbs up or a 1 or a yes or something in the chat, just to let everybody know that was pretty cool. So today we're going to talk about building a strong brand voice for a seamless customer value journey. And just in case you were wondering, yes, I did create that title in ChatGPT. There's 9 other titles there that I could have chosen from. I just picked the last one because I thought it was pretty cool. Now, we're supposed to give you the problem that we're trying to solve, but because you are accelerators and you're in this boot camp, I'm going to reveal to you the advantage that you're going to get from being here today. Despite it being spring break, despite whatever else, you're here. And what we're going to talk about is great marketers generate context assets before creating content assets. You've realized so far we haven't created any like content. Like last week we created some Facebook ads, but the reality is like you're going to go through this process of creating context. What I love about the CVJ, and if you haven't heard the podcast that Mark and I did, that's up on their Digital Marketer podcast, I talked about how I came to realize at some point in my marketing career that nobody was filling out the avatar, the before and after, and the CVJ. And the reality is those are the foundations of everything else you should be doing. Great marketers are going to work in that space. If you think about skyscrapers, the taller the skyscraper, the more you have to dig deep down and build a foundation. And that's what we're doing right now. So we're talking about generating context assets so that we can do really good at creating content assets later on. Our goal today is going to be continue building the assets that are going to help us build that context. If content is king, its parents are consistency and context. Now, why am I coming up with context? It's this, is that machines cannot understand what you're all about unless you give it context. So like in the chat YouTube, I've got to give it a video that gives it context of what I want to learn. If I'm building a website, I've got to explain to my customers that a simple brochure website is going to do not a thing for them because there is not enough context. You can build content all day long, but if you don't build the right context, it's not really going to matter. All right, here's another important note. Sequence is everything. The order that you build these items is important. And what you're going to do is these are all experiments. I'm not an expert in this. I just figured out how to get things done and apply systems to it. And as I go through and try to break this ChatGPT thing, I'm discovering that there is a sequence that gives me the best results. You have to figure out what that sequence is for you. For me, it just happens to be building all of these contextual assets. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that each step builds the next asset. So if you train ChatGPT on the basics of your products, your services, and your features, then you can go into the process of branding at that point. Does that make sense? So let's review what we've done so far. We've generated a client profile. We've established a product positioning document. You can take that a step further. You can take what you created with that ideal client profile, and then you can expand it, get more pain points, get more challenges, get more goals, get more values, understand more about that prospect. And what we started doing, what I just decided I was going to do, was I created a prospects insights guide. Now, the reason why I got started in all this is because we're making a dramatic shift in our business. And I got sick and tired of going around on Google trying to find the answers to what I needed. And so I decided to try ChatGPT. And just by playing with it a little bit, I quickly started to understand what I could do with it. And so I started applying the avatar, the before and after, and the CVJ. And then I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if I was a marketing agency and I provide a client with like a prospects insight guide where it's a little bit more than just an avatar, but it's got all this additional information in that. And so like in our business, what we're doing is now our tripwire, or that convert stage that's going to excite our customers, is we're going to hold these interviews with them. And I'm going to show you how we do that. And then we produce these guides for them that they can take to any marketer. But of course, they're going to trust me because I created them for them. So we do that. We do a prospects insights guide. You can create a products insights guide. And these are great assets that an end customer can take to anybody and be able to get a head start. If somebody came to me with these guides, I would love them because it would make my job so much easier. I got a lot of tools that I use to do all this. I happen to use ChatGPT Plus. I don't think that you have to use ChatGPT Plus. The reason why I pay for it is because when I first started using this, I had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I would tap out the hour in about 15 minutes. And then I would have to wait an hour. And so I would do that for about 4 hours. Once I paid for Plus, I didn't have to do that anymore. I also use Evernote. You can use any kind of note-taking app, but something that you can organize your notes, because as we all know, ChatGPT doesn't have a great way to organize these notes. I'm really looking forward to that. It's actually the reason, just the fact that it saves the chats is the reason why I prefer it over Jasper Chat, because the chats are all there for me to revisit again later on. Obviously, Mark already showed the customer value journey worksheet. I use that Riverside.fm, which is what we use to record the principals or our customers. We then we use Descript to transcribe and create an overdub. And then we've got YouTube transcript, which now I just showed you YouTube chat, and then that Trudeau AI. And these will be in the slides that you'll have access to later on. All right, so a really great sequence that I do this in, I find that if you have a mission, vision, and values for your brand voice, that's going to help shape the overall outputs that you're going to get. If you have any kind of branding documents that you can share already to input into it. And then what we start going in and generating benefits and then benefit statements. We generate a list of outcomes and outcome statements. We generate a list of facts. Our customers, what we do is we'll generate a list of facts, and then we record them answering those questions, and then we transcribe it, and then we input it. And what that does is that gives us their voice and the way they say things about their customers. And then, of course, we summarize the content for quality control, and then we generate our assets. An important note, this is going to require multiple threads. In fact, probably for each of these steps, I have a working thread where I kind of train it, and then I combine everything into one thread, and I use that to start generating assets later on. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, I think I am ready to jump in with a live demonstration. So let's see, I'm going to pull up the unofficial ChatGPT app. We're going to start a new chat. And unfortunately, I have to kind of use my business as the example today. Here's the reason why. Next week, or I'm sorry, on Wednesday, when we talk about market research, I'm going to be talking about product market fit. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I'm so excited about AI. If you can see here, I don't know if you can tell, but I've got a lot of different versions of Venton on here, right? And that's because what we do is we build all these assets, and it's in hypothesis mode. And then we take that hypothesis to the market and throw it out there and see what kind of response we get back. And so instead of me wasting months and years trying to find product market fit by iteration, I can do it like in days and in weeks. And so yesterday I did the same process, took me about 20 minutes, but I was able to get to the next iteration of what Venton is actually going to be. So I'm going to use, I got some prompts already ready to go here. Let's see here. I've got to move a lot of these windows out of the way. Zoom adds a lot of extra windows, I tell you what. All right, so here is my starting prompt. I give it my intention, I throw in some variables, I give it a quick idea of what it is that I'm looking for. So we want to go after learning and development professionals because that's who we were focused on before the pandemic, and now we can do it again. We want sole trainers that have less than 10 employees, make at least $250 a year in annual revenue, and they need help building their online presence with web design, digital marketing, and other services. Generate a customer profile for this avatar and include pain points, challenges, goals, and values. This is an extra line I do not need. That key word that I just discovered last week, customer profile, is going to get you pretty far. You can basically do the avatar worksheet in one shot with this. So let's get started. All right, we like Jessica from Chicago. There's some pain points. There's some challenges and goals, some values, strong work ethic. Love it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach it what it is that we offer. And so because we basically offer everything at Go High Level, I put in everything that Go High Level can do. And so here's a list of what we do. All this stuff. We do all these things. And then I tell it, I want you to consolidate this list, write benefit statements for each of the features, and I want you to act as a copywriting expert and include a benefit statement written to the, oh, don't worry, I'm going to give you these prompts, so don't freak out. Written to the prospect in our marketing material, and then I give them an example. I want the feature, the name of the feature goes here, the benefit, and the benefit statement. All right, let's get that going. While that's rolling, I'm going to go get my next one ready to go. Yeah, see how it's doing all that? It's doing exactly what I told it to do. Man, that's great. All right, we're going to put the next one. I'll go back and read it later. Now I want a list of outcomes that my prospect can expect based on this list of features and benefits. For each one, I want you to act as a copywriting expert, write an outcome statement that is directed at my prospect with the goal of selling our services to them. This is the outcome. This is the outcome statement. And I think we are ready. Nope, we're not ready to rock and roll yet. It's not done. I have to hit continue. Then we can rock this one out. Trying to see where I'm at. Okay, there we go. It's almost done. Maybe. Now, this is a working chat, by the way. This is where I'm working and creating some stuff. And then I'll show you how what I do is I eventually take this information out and I put it into Evernote and I organize it. And then I create, like this is a research chat thread. And then I create a working one where it's all consolidated down. I don't let it speak quite as much so that I can go in and then generate the assets that I need at that point. And that'll make sense here in a couple deals. So what you can see is just based on what I've started up here, all the way at the top with this one prompt, I'm able to get the avatar. We're able to talk about products. We got benefit statements in here all the way through. Now it's generated potential outcomes. These are the outcomes that they want to see. Now we're going to go in and we're going to generate some frequently asked questions and answers. If you saw the AMA, you saw where I was able to go in and create the answers and then create videos using Descript and Overdub. This is the same type of process that I use to go in and generate. So I'm basically having it go in and create a bunch of assets that are going to create context. And once we put all these things together, we've got a really great amount of context that we can go and create content that's specifically geared towards my business. I've done this for other people, for my own clients, and it does a really great job. Continue. Now, this one is where it gets a little bit tricky because customer value journey is a term that's out there. Different people use it in different ways. It's obviously trademarked by Digital Marketer. So I have to kind of urge it along. So I ask it if it knows about Ryan Dice's customer value journey, and I want it to list the 8 stages with a brief description because sometimes this one's not correct. So we're going to let it roll through, kind of get a quick idea to make sure, yep, it's following right along. I think I've trained this thing pretty well. Okay. Oh, okay. I've actually moved on into the next section. So this part is part of the next section. So I'm actually going to go up here and edit this out. And I need to generate some feelings first. So now I'm working through a before and after right here. So I've got feelings of before, feelings of after. These are really important because now what I want to do is I work through all of these things. Typically what I would normally do is I would go pull out all their responses and I would put it into, let's see, Evernote, which is where I'm pulling all of my prompts from here. But you can see I've got clean prospect information. So this is everything that it created for me yesterday, all the products and services, marketing ideas, which we'll go over here in a minute, and this branding stuff. And basically what I do is I use that, I create a new chat, put those in there, have it acknowledge each item without chatting anything, with a ... The reason why I do that is because I need it to stay as concise as possible. And then once I get that, then I can go in and create the items that I'm looking for at that point. I hope that makes sense. All right, let me go back to my prompts. All right, this is my favorite prompt right here. Based on everything we've discussed so far, basically what it's telling it is to go read the whole thing. What would you say our brand message is? A great brand message, I gotta tell you. We empower learning and development professionals to provide services to big corporations. Basically what you can do is you can take this and then you can pull it into Jasper and massage it and make it better, give it some ideas to make it better, and go from there. Now I'm going to go and ask it brand personality. And while it's doing that, I'm gonna get it ready for content voice. Brand position. I'm not reading the chat, but I'm seeing a lot of smiles. I'm thinking there's something talking about, whoa, how crazy is this that it can just go through and do all this? Yes. The great thing is you can kind of, as you work with Chat GPT, you can kind of understand the things it already understands and use the words around that, and it can go in and start generating that stuff for you. So now I've got it going through and preparing a layout for a landing page. Here's another one I like. Act as if you are Eugene Schwartz, the father of copywriting. Give me a list of 20 attention-grabbing headlines I can use to immediately communicate the value and benefits of my services to my ideal prospect. These are all great. Like, I went through this whole process yesterday, and I would say it's probably about 95% accurate to what I need. So this right here, I can use all of this information to generate the branding voice, the branding guide. And this is the stuff that we take and we put into our branding voice. All right. Are there any questions that have popped up so far that maybe I can answer for a minute?
Yes, we actually have one from Kevin. He said, with these long conversations and the 3,000, did you say 4,000 or 3,000 word limit?
It's 3,000 to 4,000. It's based on
3,000 to
tokens, so the number of words is going to range. What I did hear is that when GPT-4 comes out, memory will not be an issue. So,
ooh, that's nice. Well, anyway, so it says, with these long conversations and the word limit on its memory, how are you keeping it on track?
yeah, so normally I would use multiple threads of chat, like I was saying before. Right now for a demonstration, I'm just kind of plowing through it really fast, but normally I would go through and create it. I would pull all those things out and then make it concise. Let me show you an example of how I did it yesterday. Let's see. Is this the right one? Yes. So what I did was I went through and I took all of the things that it created. So here is the prospect that it created for me yesterday. So I do this. First I give it my intention. I tell it what I'm going to do. I tell it to acknowledge with that, so it doesn't write anything new, so it doesn't add to the count of words.
Ooh.
Then I drop in the prospect information. I do the same thing. So now what I'm doing is I use the one to go create everything, and then I suck out all the good stuff, and then I put in this at the end of each one to train up a working model, right? And so as I go through, you can see I've got all the facts, all the lead magnet ideas, everything, and it gets to this point to where once everything is in there, now I can go in and ask a question. So like this was the last ... So now what I do is for each of my intentional items that I want to go and create, I just edit this one right here and give it what I want, and I'll work it for a while until I start noticing it starts hallucinating, which is because it runs out of memory. And then I can start over up here. And then you can basically work on each item. So like in this case, I had it write me a video sales letter. And then that was a continuation, but yeah, but you can go back and create any kind of content at that point. Of course, if we start allowing embedding, which is what that memory system does, where I would be able to put each of these items into a separate chat and then refer to those chats. It's going to eliminate that the need to go and do all that. So what we're doing it, the way we're doing it now is cutting edge, but in about probably a month or 2 months or 3 months, especially in a year, we're going to be so far beyond this. But this is a way that you can do it today with the tools we have available. And with them releasing that ChatGPT API, you're going to see tremendous amounts of new tools coming out, just like that YouTube chat. That was a cool little tool that someone an engineer at Atlassian just put together really fast doing that. So yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
One more question from Seamus.
Okay.
Is keeping the questions in one chat a key importance so that the AI builds or learns from this one chat versus doing them in separate chats?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to keep them, everything that you put in one chat up to that 4,000 word limit is going to be concise, and it's going to be focused. I think that's one of the bigger benefits of using AI is the focus that it's going to have, because it's only going to reference what it already knows and the information above it. So like we all know that it can't go out and pull live information off of the internet, but what you can do is kind of train it. It's not a true training of an AI model, but this is the way that you train ChatGPT to kind of get it prepared and then have it create content based on your thing. Jasper figured this out. So in their new business model that they're going to have, you'll be able to upload brand assets like this into a section in Jasper so that when you go create content, it's going to be based on that. Of course, last I heard, you're going to have to pay $500 a month for that feature, but that is where the industry is going to go. You're going to see a lot more of these tools. And I think especially if GPT-4 comes out, which don't get caught up in the hype. It's not about, yes, there's more parameters, but it's not about more information. It's about better responses. It's about better, more modalities. It's about more consistency. Jasper is not free. No, I'm sure there's a free trial or something like that, but yeah.
Actually, they are coming out with, I don't know if it's trial, but I was at the headquarters last week and they said they're launching a free version. I don't know if that means, but that'll be out soon.
Oh, that'll be
also
cool.
we're working for Jasper discounts. So everybody bug me about that next week and I might have one.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave, there's a lot of tools that you can add to your web browser, like AIPRM, that has a number of prompts that you can pull from. I just prefer to build my own. It's a lot faster that way. So, okay. Any other questions, Mark, I can answer now, or can
I? Actually, let's keep moving and then we'll circle back. Actually, it was important. The acknowledge with a ... Norm was asking why you would do that.
Yeah. So what I was saying is the reason why I did that is because if I go in and drop this information, like I can go in and I can drop this information without that in there. I'll show you. It's going to write a response no matter what. And it's going to be really long because it's going to try to summarize the entire thing. I don't need it to summarize and give me more things, because what's going to happen is when I go in and put in the next deal, it has to read all that as well. So I do a sanitized version. I use a working version to go in and create the stuff. Then I use a sanitized version to go and build new assets at that point. So this is like I call it the foundation, right? So if you get your prospect information, your branding information, marketing information, CVJ, and from all that type of stuff, that's your foundation that you're going to build on top of. You want to sanitize that out into a new chat that doesn't have all these responses, so you have a longer access to that chat before it runs out of memory. Does that make sense?
It does.
Cool.
And then we'll hold off on the rest until you keep going, just so we keep it on pace.
Okay, sweet. All right, so we talked about, that's all of our branding voice stuff. And another thing that I like about too is you can take any of these sections or any of this text, and you can massage it more. So like I always love using like act as a digital marketing expert and then summarize this in 12 words or less, something like that. If I need it to fit into a website, especially like some spots you want the same amount of words in each box so that they all line up properly. I've been using this like crazy to say, I want to take this concept and I want to write something with this many words. So I make sure it fits in there. And we're able to, as a web designer, it's awesome because now all I need is ideas about content, and I can go and create content for our customers and massage it into the way that I want it to. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically go through the CVJ, and I'm just gonna ask it to give me ideas for different sections of the CVJ for me to be able to then go and fill it out and kind of have it ready to go. I would say that you can explain more on the sanitation thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, the sanitation. So because you're limited to about 4,000 words in that thread that it can actually read, what you want to do is you want to prevent it from adding into those words. So the reason why I put that comment in there to not write anything new is because I don't need it to generate more words. This is not the right one. Well, I'm way down. I don't need it to generate more words that it's going to take up the memory, if that makes sense. So we can get more into that into the Q&A if we need to. Okay, let me make sure. Yeah, this is the one I was working on. Again, if anybody knows anybody at OpenAI, I would love a folder system, nested folders. All right, let me get back up here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it. I'm asking it about Ryan's customer value journey for a reason, so that when I go and start asking it the next section of questions, it will reference this. So I'm asking about Ryan's customer value journey, and I'm reviewing it to make sure that it's correct, and all the stages are there. Brief overview of it, looks like it's good to go. And so now I'm going to say, I want to generate a list of ideas to help increase awareness about my services to my ideal prospect. Now, this works really well in a sanitized version because when I put it in, I say, here is information about my prospect. And I put all the information about the prospect. Then I say, here's all the information about my services. And then I put all the information about the services. It's basically setting a variable in programming speak to where anytime I reference services, it knows these are my services, these are my prospect. It should pretty much figure that out from this one too. So I'm going to have it generate a list of ways to build increased awareness. And it's given some great stuff here. Online advertising, social media platforms, attend industry events. Love it. Email marketing, all these types of things. I don't know that I told it to give me 20 of them, but that's great. All these things are great items that you can use to build awareness. So now I want it to increase engagement. Now, as a web designer, this is how I think about the relationship between awareness and engagement. Awareness is when someone is out in the wild and they come across your brand. This could be social media. This could be a blog post on a search result. This could be any of these things where it's out in the wild. For me, engagement is when I can get them to come to my site and then I can kind of engage with them, whether it's through a chat bot or through, free trials, a community forum. Like a Facebook group would be a great way to do engagement because you're getting them come into your house basically, or your apartment at Facebook and engage with your brand and people that are in your brand. So these are some good ideas. I will tell you this, not all of these are going to be great ideas and they're not all going to fit. It's a great idea for it to generate all these, and then you go through and you pick out the few that you know that you can work on and start from that. And then, and the same thing with engagement. So you're using this as an ideator. It's an idea generation tool. It already understands the concept of building awareness and engagement and subscription. And so you're just using it along with your information to then go in and build up ideas on what to do with that. So for subscribe, I just ask it to give me a list of lead magnet ideas. So here's some great ideas for lead. Wow, it's even giving me titles for the free stuff. That's great. Now you can take any of those and expand on them in another chat or whatnot and kind of build that whole deal out. But what you're getting is you're getting ideas so that you can quickly go through and complete these worksheets and fill them out so that you have that foundation to build on. I'm going to generate some tripwire ideas. And of course, I'm going to ask it some stuff about getting through the excite stage. I would say the excite stage is one of the more difficult ideas to really put out there, like to get through. Would you agree with that, Mark?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's probably the most difficult to do. So what I would do in that case is I would try to go find a video about the excite stage. Let's see what we can do here. I've got
we
a video.
in the resources, I actually uploaded one of our interactive customer value journeys, and it actually has options for each one of the stages.
Nice.
So if you wanted to, what I'm doing right now, because I should have done this before, I'm going to build out a document that you could just tell ChatGPT to reference, and then it'll limit the options that I'll choose for each one to the document. That makes sense.
Great. Yeah, what I love about this is if you're trying to go and generate something in ChatGPT, but you need some information that it doesn't know about, you can just go find a video or a web page about it, and then load that information in there in a new chat box to get a summary of it, so that you can then go in and pop that in. What I liked about this one, it's funny because this video is about the entire customer journey, but for some reason when it processes it, it did it exactly on the excite stage and talks about it in there. So if I was having trouble, like let's say I was in ChatGPT and I told it to generate some ideas for an excite stage and it wasn't really getting it, then I could do like I did earlier where I asked it about the CVJ and then say, here's some more information about the excite stage, and use this summary that I created from here to then pop in there to kind of teach it what I want, and then have it generate the results from that point. Let's see. I think that's it, man. Like that's as far as I like to go. And the reason why I stopped there at the excite stage is because everything that we've generated so far is a hypothesis, right? It's a hypothesis. You can base the hypothesis on interviews. You can base the hypothesis on learned knowledge, your expertise, and things like that. But this is everything that kind of gets you ready to now go to market and prove the hypothesis. And that's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday, is how we kind of go through that process to prove that hypothesis and get to product market fit, which is something that has taken me a long time to understand. And now that I've been able to iterate through this so fast using these tools, I can see it a lot clearer now. So every time I go through and do this process and iterate, I get more clarity. I did this process for one of my clients, and we actually went through, last year we went through a whole growth accelerator program. I took them through a whole scalable system and everything. And we went about 8 months on this program. And then I found these tools, and I started running their business using these same things through these tools. And we quickly discovered something. We were focused at the wrong market. We were aiming too low because it was my understanding. So what they do is they work with HR executives, right? They're a learning and development company. They come into corporations and associations to provide DISC assessments and consulting and all that. So when we met and we went through the avatar, they were talking to me. They were basically telling me that we work with HR people. And so I put what my idea of HR people in, which is like your entry level HR, your staffing reps, people who do placement, things like that. So when I ran it through this ChatGPT system and expanded it, they were quickly able to discover, oh no, that's not who we go after. And I'm like, wait, this is exactly who we put together in your avatar, and this is who we've been marketing to for the last 8 months. And while it has gotten them some results, it hasn't really resulted in the things that we wanted. So now, because of that, we were able to quickly determine that we were not pointing the lens in the right direction. So now we've gone through it again, and now we have it in the right position of where we want it to. So using these tools allows us to be able to move that lens to exactly where we need it to. And now what we'll do is we'll build, we'll go do some market research and make sure that we're hitting the spot. And once we're hitting the spot and we're getting closer to product market fit, we should see a lot better results coming through from that.
Nice. And it's not a huge deal because you can generate everything pretty quick once you train the system.
In the greatest thing, so like that particular customer, we met because a friend of mine has a studio and he was having to go into the studio and record some videos in there. And my friend was using teleprompters. He was preparing scripts. He was using Copy AI to prepare scripts. And that customer went in there and you could tell that he was reading the teleprompter, and then I didn't really like the thing. And this guy is scared of cameras, right? But he's on camera every day when he's consulting people on Zoom. And so what I did was I said, come join me in Riverside. Has anybody else used Riverside? It's great for podcasting, but what I use it for is I use it to interview my customers, and I don't give them the questions ahead of time, which freaks them out because they're experts at what they talk about, right? So Mark, if I start talking to you about web design or CVJ or any of that, you could talk all day long about it. Well, these guys can talk about their expertise all day long about it. So I just interview them. I ask them questions, and after I ask it, I just smile real big and shake my head yes, and it encourages them. And in 30 minutes, I've got 30 minutes of solid content from them that I can now take and transcribe and have AI analyze and break up and create content. And so the way we're going to do it in our agency is that's actually going to be our dig section. Like, we got to dig down deep and really get to know the customer and their business and who they're trying to attract. And we can generate all these assets to build up a foundation. And then we can use everything that we created to then go and build their marketing system for the next year at that point. And you do that just with like 5 little 30. I keep it at 30 minutes because after 30 minutes, they get tired. But if I do like 5 weeks in a row and generate those assets for them, we'll have everything that we need to go and create their entire marketing platform.
That's crazy. That would save everything.
Right?
Like, it's well, and that would be generated from, because for me, like, I always try to generate the content from the professional, because that's what you want. But trying to get them to sit down and answer a questionnaire or even 5 questions on an email is almost impossible.
They refuse to do it. They refuse to do it. But if
it's too much work.
I said, I don't know if you saw that post I put on Facebook, but I was like, I tricked my customer into answering questions. So like for months, I've been begging him to give me content for these pages that he told me he wanted on his website. And he's like, and he kept telling me, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's like, all right, great. Jump on this call. In 30 minutes, I had all the content I needed because I just said, so Scott, tell me about the work that you do with associations. And he starts going all the way. And I'm just like, oh man, that's great. That's great. And the reason why I use Riverside is because it records the audio separate. So I have just his voice on his own that I can transcribe out. That gives me everything I need, because now I can train the AI ChatGPT tool. When I drop that in there, it's going to use his terminology. When he refers to his customers and whatever words that he uses, it's going to use that terminology. When he uses industry phrases, it's going to use that terminology. That's what makes asking, and that's what's going to add the humanity back into marketing, right? We can use all these AI tools, but now instead of me saying, hey, bro, I need you to go fill out this form, and then they never do it, I can say, hey, man, get on this call with me real quick. I'm going to ask you some questions. It's going to make him feel good about himself because he's talked about himself nonstop. Imagine if you did that as a tripwire. Like, that's how you do great sales, is just by asking questions. Like, every time I sell a website, I ask questions for 45 minutes and then I sell them in 5 because they've talked about themselves the whole time and they're ready to go.
you know what's funny is everybody always acts like, okay, well, is AI going to kill creativity? And what I tell people is that no, because the creative people are still going to be creative. They're going to be even more creative. But what's happening is that you're having people who don't think they're creative, but just haven't put in the work, will now be able to be as creative as they want, because now it's not really work anymore. It's just you interacting with something for 10 seconds and it'll generate everything for you.
I'm
That's
going to give
incredible.
you a little secret. My wife is going to hate me for telling you this, and she's over there glaring at me right now. I'm going to use Video Ask to do the interviews. I can pre-record the interviews. They can respond. It's going to transcribe them. I know. She's mad. She's like, you got to keep some cards close to your chest, right?
You threw so many tools at everybody. It's going to be hard for people to keep up.
Yeah.
No, then you just put it into Synasia, just record yourself. And then now you don't even have to do the video part
There you
at
go.
all.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. We do have a couple questions. Let's see here. Goes back to the actual. We'll start with Sean. Should you always include a full video transcription when you use YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, what I would do, it depends on the length of the video. So I was using YouTubeTranscript.com, which will pull that transcript. But what I like about this chatyoutube.com is that I can put the video in there and I'll let him cover the cost of the API, right? Because this tool is already doing all that. It's the same system. I'm really pointing at it as if you can see what I'm pointing at. but that chat, the YouTube chat.com, I'll use that as a tool. It's a free tool. I'll use that and let him bear the burden of the cost of putting that all together. And I will generate assets out of that I will then pull into ChatGPT. Makes sense. So I use I use a variety of tools that are good at what they do. So for instance, I don't write any content with ChatGPT. It's probably pretty good, but Jasper is so much better. So what I do when I go to write content, and I'm jumping ahead of us, is I use ChatGPT to create the outlines that I then put into Jasper, right? Same thing with, if you want to do video, you want to use these other tools that are bent for that, have it generate the assets that you then pull into ChatGPT. So it's like you're a conductor, right? You've got the plethora of tools out there and you're just calling and picking in pieces. This is what the future of marketing is going to be, because normally these would have all been separate employees and maybe even separate teams, right? But now I can be the conductor and say, all right, I want a little piece of this. I need a little piece of that, put it together, make it all work together. It's amazing. It's like my logo means something.
That's awesome. Let's see. We have a few questions. Can you do something similar in regular Jasper, not the $500 a month version? Because I know that, did they just launch their chat function? I saw a TikTok about that this morning.
You talking about Jasper launching the chat function?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what they're referring to is that branding thing that they're adding in, and I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. So this is how I think it's going to happen, right? If you look at the way software works, they're based, in fact, High Level just released content AI in their system. They released it to their agency partners that can do SaaSes first, because there's less of them to break it, right? So what I suspect is Jasper will release it to a business level, but eventually once they've proven that model, because it's funny, the people who spend more money are more likely to forgive broken things if they can be on the forefront of technology, right? So I think that what Jasper will do is test it out at an agency level, and once they prove it, then release it. And that's an excite stage, right? They'll release it down for the regular people to be able to go and do it. But I will tell you this, in the next few months, I guarantee you every AI tool is going to be able to do all these things. It's just a stampede right now. Just in the meantime, we've got to do it this way.
Yeah, and that's and new tools will come on, but like I actually said this in the chat, like if you could get the base function of how all these things work, you'll be able to take a lot more advantage of any future tool that makes it slightly easier, because they'll disconnect you from what's actually happening behind the scenes. So this is probably the best opportunity you have to actually understand AI before it gets so standardized that nobody even talks about it anymore,
right?
Because everything will just happen.
It's just going to give you that edge. And I'll tell you this, I've been doing this 25 years. And in my experience, when you have to go through the birth of a new technology, like the internet, like social media, like whatever, when you do it the hard way, you are going to understand it so much better than the people who are going to come a little bit after and just be able to experience the ease of the AI. And so I think that with you guys being in this, or you folks being in this boot camp with us, you're going to get that secret insight to be able to get through this faster, but you're going to have an understanding that other people who don't have to go through all this are going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you'll be able to do stuff super fast too.
Absolutely.
Live, which I think the live component, like what we're doing right now, like seems really impressive because a lot of people can't ideate and create stuff that quickly. But I think what the expectation everybody's going to have is that you're able to do this, and it's not going to be an impressive thing. It's gonna be like, well, of course you're going to build an entire marketing campaign for me in 30 minutes because I could do it using AI. So, and for example, so I just took that sheet, and then, like I said, for the words that were, or the option sheet. So you guys see my screen, right? Everybody's looking at ChatGPT right now.
Yep.
Michelle, am I crazy? Okay, cool. So all I did was I said, act as a digital marketing professional for Hazel and Hems, our example. And then it wrote all this because I didn't use James's clever ... line. And then I said, review the customer value journey using that document that I shared with everybody. It reviewed it. Then I said, review the options for each stage, which is that document that I just shared for you guys. Reviewed it. And then I said, create a customer value journey for Hazel and Hems Boutique using one option for each stage. And then it did it. So it actually, oh, wow, it had a conversion stage for abandoned cart email campaigns. Let's see, personalization. Tactics is customized product recommendation. Oh,
So
smart.
so it will read URLs. I haven't even tried to do URLs.
Yeah, I just found that out. I think last Thursday. I thought you told me about it.
I probably did, but I just don't do it. So I didn't think about even trying it. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So now instead
that's what's great about this. We're all figuring it out, right? And you got to break things. You got to be open. I say every day I wake up and eat a bowl of failure flakes, because if you got to just be ready to fail. It's okay. You can fail all day long. That's how you learn. That's how you learn faster.
It is, and it's okay because it doesn't take you that long to fail anymore. It's fail fast.
Yep.
So that's the way to go. So yeah, you can see I actually filled out an entire thing, and then you could probably break down each one of these components and say, make me a social media advertising campaign for whatever, and it'll tell you schedule and everything else. And again, you want training, and this is where I think AI, or the difference between how brands act right now versus how they're going to act, is you're going to have to customize these things for each brand. Like you're going to have to stylize every component of every system. Otherwise, people could generate generic stuff like this immediately using what we just taught you in an hour. So it's going to be a different game. All right, couple more questions.
There's a few people asking about why I use Jasper. And so I wanted to I know I kind of hit on that earlier, but ChatGPT is like a generalized chat system, right? So it can create content, but I have a really one of my like inherent traits is I can notice patterns. We can all notice patterns. After you've used this for a while, especially when you're creating content, you're going to start noticing the same patterns over and over again because it's built that way. Jasper is an enhancement of GPT, right? They probably utilize, I know Content and Scale utilizes a various different models that they then combine into one model to give you that content. So Jasper's really good if you want to go through the process yourself. Content and Scale is really good if you just want to give it off to somebody else and have them do it. But those models are specifically trained to write content. That's the reason why I use those tools.
That's a great point. Let's see. We have
Jasper
Michelle.
Jasper isn't $500. Sorry, Nicole. Jasper isn't $500, but it's that is the business model that they have with some of these enhanced features that they're coming out with, like an API, like the brand section, like those types of things. But you can get it for like, I think I pay like $50 a month for my account.
Oh, you know what, Seamus, I was going to answer your question in chat. You said, so you would paste in a link to the accurate info and tell this is the correct info. Yes. Yes. Yeah, it basically just assumes. I mean, the question that I asked was specifically to review. I say review just because I like to see it and I like it to say, that way I could look at the review and say like, okay, it's got it or not, but you could do it either way and just have it, you know, assume that it's right. But whenever you could verify with the AI, the better. Because if your client asks you like, hey, how'd you do this? And you're like, well, I don't know, I didn't actually review the answer. Bad answer. Let's see. Do you have comments? Any comments on the use of content at scale? I actually haven't used that, but we'll let Julia answer that.
Yeah,
She's
Julia
coming
from
in on,
Content and Skill will be here next week to go over all that, so it'll be good.
yeah, she will blow your mind as well all the time. Let's see. Andrew Bonds. How's it going, Andrew? How long do you think it would take you to do a 90-day intensive with AI tools?
And are you talking
mean-
about like an online course?
No, basically the 90 intensive is like a certified partner thing where we break out
Oh my gosh.
the entire
5
customer
minutes.
journey.
You could probably, you know what? I'm
And-
going to put this on my task list because you could probably bust it out in like an hour.
I got a video. I'm going to try to find it and share it in chat where a school teacher wrote a lesson plan, grading rubric, a test, all these things just with some prompts, and it even laid it all out in a table and everything. But yeah, I don't think it would take very long to create curriculum and courses with ChatGPT. In fact, what I did was I have a number of mini courses, right? Like one's on LinkedIn, increasing your LinkedIn power. I took transcripts of all those and then I applied it to my new ideal prospect and had it rewrite all of them. And then I popped it into Descript and had it re-say all of them. And now we're going to recreate all of them. So instead of it just being a generalized mini course, it's going to be geared specifically to my ideal prospect. That's what I love about this stuff is like when you figure out who that ideal prospect really is, you can talk directly to them in everything that you do.
Yeah, and you could actually, or you have some base level of content, and then you could just tweak it every single time you talk to somebody. This is actually a book that I'm going to put out today that I wrote on Friday with one of our other SMEs, Jeff. And yeah, it wrote the whole thing in like 45 minutes and a landing page and an email campaign and a abandoned cart campaign and a forward and the back of the book. It wrote the whole thing. And I'm actually going to say, actually, I put this on the cover because I didn't actually write this. AI Mark. So I like to just disclose whenever you're doing this kind of stuff, but it really just, it shows your competency in terms of AI. So I definitely recommend. And Jeff is going to be here on one of the dates and I'll let you know.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what I've been seeing him and Julia McCoy have been like really hitting it off. So I'm really excited to see what the others are doing as well.
Yeah, it's incredible what you're able to do. Let's see, we have a few more questions. If I could find where I put them on my screens.
There's a lot of windows in Zoom, isn't there?
I know there's too many. You add the multiple screens on it,
right? You're like, wait, where am I?
Where anything is. Well, then Zoom hides the little thing. Are you guys still looking at my screen right now?
No.
Oh, there it is. Okay, you're not looking at the screen. That's good. Let me get back to my Q&A. Oh, keep on coming in. Okay. Are we getting a certificate of completion at the end? Jenny, yes. Yes, assuming you're here. And it doesn't hurt to share your work in the forum as well on Slack. Thoughts on Poe AI?
So I just discovered Poe last week. I put it on my phone, and then like a couple days later, I think they released it on desktop apps. It's cool. What I like about it is being able to try out the Claude, which is a different tool than ChatGPT, but it gives different types of results. And one thing I like about Poe is they also include links to everything they reference on that. The thing I do not like about Poe, and maybe I just haven't figured out how to do this yet, is it doesn't save the chats. So a lot of these tools that are coming out with, chat GPT stuff doesn't save any of the chats. I like to be able to go back and reference, because I want to go back and grab the prompts that I use or the information that I generated from those. So that's the only drawback that I saw so far on that.
Oh, and just so everybody knows why that is, that people don't let you save your chats, it's because it's a lot of data, even text. But you might be like we saw that James probably just generated, I don't know, 5,000 to 10,000 words of data. Like
Right.
That's not insignificant even for just text. So these companies, since they don't have billions of dollars, they can't afford the server space.
Yeah.
And all that content has to live somewhere. So that's why they're cheap jerks. That's why. Let's see. When do you think pictures will be added to text? Nan, are you talking about the a chat GPT response? Yes. No idea. I don't think they have any plans to do that as far as I've seen. The two functions between visual and text are massively different. And the reason why is because with visual, it's up to any one individual's interpretation of what that means. Because you could say big tree, and to you, a big tree might mean one thing, and to the machine, it could be another thing. And then every other user, it has a different definition. And so it doesn't translate as well.
But I think that when GPT-4 comes out, that will change. But I
good.
don't know
I mean,
that
why
it's
not?
going to come right into ChatGPT right away. So probably what's going to happen is they're going to release GPT-4 into big Microsoft development features and then trickle down to us. But once it does, the capabilities that they're saying it's going to be capable of is being able to do video, being able to do picture, being able to do sound from it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and who knows? Like everything is. Have you ever seen the course of like app development or any software development? Nothing has happened as fast as what's happening today, like this instant, because we've never seen an explosion of apps like this.
Yeah, when we do this again in a year, I'll be on my hoverboard and wearing some big goggles or something, because
we'll be in a VR room together. That's what.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my thing is this: like, the reason why I put AI evangelist up there on my LinkedIn profile is because I see the vision and I can see where it's going, and I want to get people excited about it, because the first place everybody goes to is the negative stuff, like, oh, the Terminators are coming to take us out and everything. But to me, when I see what I'm able to do as a marketer, I just imagine like, and then you're looking at these like high-end developers that are using the tools, the coding tools, and how they're saying they're 80% of their output is coming from AI. And to me, it's like, imagine we get the right scientists in here. I mean, we could solve the big problems, like this could help us solve cancer. This could help us, go throughout space and do the great things that we want to do in life. It doesn't seem like that with banks collapsing around us right now, but it could be some big things. So
no, it's huge. And that's why I try to tell people, like, we don't even know what we're going to figure out. That's the coolest thing. I always reference this eye study they did where they fed an AI about 20,000 sets of eyes. And what it was able to do with almost 100% accuracy was determine which eyes were female and which were male. And humans can't do that. We don't know the difference between the two sets of eyes, but AI, after just looking once, said, oh yeah, I could tell that. And it's like, we didn't know that was possible. So that kind of stuff is really what makes me really excited, because we're all limited by our experience with technology, and it's been a pretty crummy one for the last 10 years, where it's like, here's this tool that should help you a lot, and it sort of helps you a little, and then you gotta get this other tool and this other tool and this tool, and that's all gonna stop happening soon. So but understanding how it all works is going to put you way ahead of everybody else. All right, I think we have a few more minutes. We can answer a few more questions. I'm assuming, if this is from Michelle, I'm assuming you charge your clients accordingly by including all these assets into your cost, correct?
Say that again. I'm sorry. I was trying to read the questions instead of letting you read them to me. There we go. Go ahead.
I'm assuming you charge your clients accordingly by including all these assets into your cost.
Yeah, so the way our workflow is going to be is we'll allow them to come in to do like a Clarity Compass tripwire with us, and then which is like one interview. And at the end of that interview, once we create that, we'll get them to buy into a bigger tripwire for $497, where we develop like their prospect guide, branding guide, product guide, and then from there it's a subscription model. Everything's included, all subscription from that point, because by that time we have everything that we need, and now we can use tools like High Level to go in and do everything we need to do.
And I think that's going to be the expectation of most clients now. They're not going to say like, they're not going to accept you saying like, oh, I'm an email specialist, I only do email, I don't touch anything else, because they're going to be like, why not? I talked to James and James just built me all of this stuff in 5 seconds. So
Right.
I think it's going to be the standard that people expect. And then like James said, the subscription fee where, you know, you have the AI trained so you can generate anything that's necessary anyways. So why would they go through the same process with somebody else?
Right.
Again, they're not going to.
Yeah, after they've already experienced it with us. And so now that with what we generated yesterday, we're going to go get our landing page and everything ready to go. And then we'll go do the process, which I'm going to teach on Wednesday about that market research. But the whole thing that popped this whole deal off was a book called Time's Up. One of the authors is Ron Baker. I can never remember the other guy's name, but it's about this shift from value-based pricing, which is the way we've been doing it forever, the last 20 years, to subscription-based pricing for professionals. Highly recommend it. It makes a lot of sense. It covers a lot of the frustrations we've had. Like, I am sick and tired of hourly billing because I will drag my feet. My customers don't get the outcomes that they want. They expect me to do it faster. If we just put it under a subscription model and give them access to everything, then it frees us up to do our work as fast as we want to do, because we can do it in 5 minutes, and gives them the outcomes that they're looking for. So everybody's satisfied at that point. That's a really bad summarization of that book, but I highly recommend you go read it.
No, that's actually perfect. Well, and another term, if you guys want to look up just to explain what we're going through right now, it's called creative destruction. And so it's basically the process of old technologies getting replaced by new technologies. And we've been through it like a million times. So it's the only difference is that it's the most destructive ever, probably, in terms of resources and people's occupations and things like that. But it is something we've done before. So I like my favorite example, just in comparison to like the marketing industry, is people used to have to call somebody to trade stocks, and then online trading came about, and then some firms lost, most adapted, and they were fine. So in terms of, you know, having that kind of like client service, I think that's a good example, and you are getting ahead of it. But just plan on knowing everything from now on, because everybody's going to expect it, and you're here, so you're doing good. You're learning a bunch already. Let's see. I think we have time for one more question. Let me pick a good one. Unless you see a good one, James, go ahead and grab it. The design layout for the book. After I'm done with this book, if you guys are interested, I'll actually just give you the InDesign file, and you could change whatever you want. And I'll upload that. It's not AI. You have to copy and paste stuff into it. But there's probably a form where I could probably automate it. I'll look into automating it. But in the meantime, I'll just give you guys the file, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think like Designer can do something like that with like, I think it's got like 3 R's at the end or something. I don't know.
Designer, check that out.
Yeah. And then that thing about the competitor insight, I don't know if you guys remember last week, the guy was talking about going in and looking at reviews, and then you could like generate reviews. There's already an AI tool for that. It's coming out. The guy who created LearnDash, I don't know any WordPress users in here that use LearnDash.
Oh, yeah, I love LearnDash.
Justin Ferryman sold LearnDash to Chris Lemma's group, and now he's working on a program called Gap Scout. It's not out yet, and I actually messaged him on Twitter and said, hey, I'm gonna be talking about market research. I want to demo your product because it's not open to the public yet. And he was open to it, but the people who own the API to where he's getting his stuff from got bought out over the weekend, and so they lost access. And so I'm waiting for him. Hopefully we'll be able to show that, but that's basically what it does, is it goes through and it looks at reviews, and it's looking for gaps in the market that you can then exploit. I'm really
That's
excited
fantastic.
about next week because we're going to talk about product market fit. I think it's something that's not covered enough in marketing. And I am excited to share it with you on how we go about and do our market research using these tools. And I think it's going to be phenomenal. Of course, that's just me.
This
I'm
is
giving I'm giving it. So there.
it's genius.
It's
No, it will be.
genius.
Oh, based on your presentation today, I would say you're not far off the mark, because this was fantastic. I mean, just a few tips, just a couple of tips are worth the entire time that we spent today. But combined, it's invaluable. So what James just demonstrated, just so you know, is how to create an entire digital marketing strategy in 90 minutes, except way less because we did a lot more stuff.
Yeah, I think it was like 37.
37 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was a ton of stuff, and that's what you could do, and all you have to do is copy and paste the prompts. Just so everybody knows, all the resources we mentioned should be in the course section right now. Michelle just confirmed with me. If we are missing anything, just hit us up on Slack and we'll be sure to upload it. This book thing I'll try to get up today, and it's not really AI, but it was generated by AI, the content at least, and the pictures, all the pictures are AI. And I'll include that so you could use it if you want. And also I'm going to check out Designer, so I'll test that out, see how good it is. I was a
Cool.
magazine editor and layout designer and photographer.
It looks sharp. I think that's why everybody was so excited, because I was like, if I can make an ebook or a book that looked as great as that, I want to do it. Just want to let you all know. I just dropped the link to my prompts in the Slack general channel, so you can access that. I'll make updates to it. It's connected to my Evernote, and then I will export it as a PDF for you guys to have in your resources. Sorry, Mark, I'll shut up now.
No, this has been fantastic. I mean, it's so much stuff, and luckily we have you back on Wednesday.
Cool.
So if you have any questions for James, I would save it till then. If not, we'll go ahead and answer the rest of these in Slack, and then we'll keep going from there. But if you can, I would definitely try to generate a customer value journey yourself, using what you learned today, one of your clients or your own company, and use the prompts, and it'll just do the whole thing for you. So if you do it right, it should take you no more than 30-45 minutes. But as you can see, we're kind of building on these components in terms of strategy. So, the product positioning, the customer avatar, now you have the CVJ, and now we could get into the actual execution of the task that you'll be sharing with everybody else in the next 10 sessions or whatever we have left. So still lots to learn. Make sure you tune in on Wednesday. Thank you so much, James, for coming. And again, we're always available on Slack, so be sure to hit us up on there and show your work. The more you show your work, we're actually going through, so we'll try to monitor those. But if you can, put your work in there so we could think about it, and you might come up with questions and other things that we haven't answered yet that we will answer in the next sessions if you make us aware of it. Other than that, we're a minute late, but I think we did pretty good. Thanks a lot, James. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much for trusting me with your group.
No problem. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.